Please adhere to YouTube's selected guidelines before viewing the content of this video. I do not encourage or condone any products, actions, or behaviors shown in this video. All videos are produced in a safe, professional, and controlled environment. Please do not attempt to replicate any actions performed during the video. All actions are performed by professionals.
Alrighty, so today I'm going to be doing something very special. Today I am going to be smoking a cigarette that is smoking a cigarette that is smoking a cigarette. That is correct. Now some of y'all might be wondering, why would I want to smoke a cigarette that's smoking a cigarette that's smoking a cigarette? And the reason is very simple, because I think it's funny. I think the fact that I will be smoking a cigarette that is smoking a cigarette that is smoking a cigarette is absolutely hilarious, and that is the one and only reason why I am making this video. Although some other benefits to this experience I do personally think are the fact that I will probably get pretty buzzed, as today I am quite literally going to be smoking 3 cigarettes in one go. I also think that this experience overall, more so than not, is probably going to be a pretty good experience. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be a good experience, so as such I am very much looking forward to it, that is for sure. But real quick, before I go ahead and get the cigarette that's smoking a cigarette that's smoking a cigarette all lit up, I want to go ahead and tell you guys how I made this little contraption right here. So essentially what I did is I took one of my LD menthol cigarettes and then I just stuck one of my Capri Magenta 120 cigarettes inside of it, and then after that I rolled my own cigarette, even smaller than the Capri Magenta 120 size cigarettes, which are super slim cigarettes, and then I stuck that inside of there, and well, that's how we reached where we are today. But I do think without further ado, it is now time. I don't think I have anything else to say, so I do think without further ado, it is now time for me to go ahead and get, well, the cigarette that's going to be smoking a cigarette that's going to be smoking a cigarette all lit up, and go ahead and let you guys know how this experience actually is. I hope that it doesn't fall apart once I make it go sideways, because it is very fragile. It is super fragile, I ain't gonna lie. I've broken it already like twice on accident and put it back together. This is insanely fragile. I hope it doesn't just break. I really hope it doesn't just break. That would certainly suck. Without further ado, as the wind is picking up a little bit, I do suppose let's go ahead and try to get this all lit up, you know what I'm saying? It is canoeing a little bit, and I'm getting pretty much no draw from that at all. I don't even know if that actually lit, in all honesty. I think I might have just burned, because there was a bunch of paper on the end and tobacco had fallen out of it. So let's try that again. I'm not getting anything off that. That draw is terrible. That draw is terrible. I'm thinking maybe smoking a cigarette that's smoking a cigarette that's smoking a cigarette might be a little bit too much, but what I can say for certain is that this cigarette right here, that's smoking this cigarette, is getting a pretty good buzz, more than likely at least, even though I'm not really able to get any of the smoke off of this cigarette right here, probably because there's not really a lot of tobacco inside of it. To make this cigarette so thin, I had to roll it with almost no tobacco inside of it, so that is probably why it's not smoking very well. But I'm just gonna go and try to ash that real quick. And I'm going to go ahead and just try to get this all lit up once again, so I can actually try to get a little bit of something kind of thing. This cigarette might be getting something, but I want something as well, you know what I'm saying? Well, I did say at the beginning of this video that I thought this was going to be a good experience. I am afraid that I may have been wrong. I have not gotten a single puff of smoke yet. Not a single puff of smoke. That really is a little bit of a shame, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. Nothing. I'm not getting anything off of this. I'm gonna have to try to get this relit. I don't know what the deal is. I think it's just because it's just so long. Like, oh no, it is actually burning. It is actually burning. Is it, when I draw, does it actually burn anymore? No, no, my breath is not is not reaching this. My breath is not reaching this. Yeah, that's a lost cause in all honesty. I do suppose it makes sense. This is really, really, really long, and I did not use any sort of like glue strips or anything like that in the making of this cigarette right here, just because it wouldn't be a cigarette smoking a cigarette smoking a cigarette if they were all stuck together, you know what I'm saying? Because a cigarette, when I'm smoking it, isn't stuck to my lips. So that's just not how it would be smoked if a cigarette was smoking a cigarette, you know what I'm saying? But I am starting to see the issue with this, I will admit. I am definitely starting to see the issue with this. It does make sense, I do suppose. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Okay, I'm gonna have to hold it like this because this is really wanting to fall out right now. This is really, really, really wanting to fall out right now. Wow, this is really not liking me, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. This is really not liking me. Man, I'm thinking, I have previously smoked a cigarette that was smoking a cigarette, and that went just fine. But trying to smoke a cigarette that's smoking a cigarette that's smoking a cigarette, I think that might just be pushing the upper limit. I think that might just be pushing the upper limit. I was so excited for this experience. I was thinking this was gonna be a great experience, and here I am, not enjoying it. I haven't gotten a single puff of smoke yet. I haven't had a cigarette in like an hour. I want to smoke, bro. I want to smoke, but I want to take at least one puff off of the cigarette that's smoking a cigarette kind of thing. And then this cigarette is trying to fall out real quick. I'm going to try to make sure it doesn't, but if it does, then I do suppose it is what it is. Man, oh man, I cannot believe this. I cannot believe this. Well, I am honestly really disappointed right now. Here I was thinking that this was going to be a good experience, and then here I am not having a particularly good experience. I don't know what the deal is. Is it this one right here that's the issue? Is it just that the draw is too long? I'm thinking it's probably that, or is it that this is not in there tight enough and I'm losing a lot of air? I wouldn't be surprised if it was that, in all honesty. I have my Pontiac Aztec cooler right here with an ashtray inside. And what I'm gonna try to do real quick is do some surgery mid-smoke. I'm gonna try to do some surgery to the cigarette mid-smoke, and I'm gonna try to improve it. I'm just gonna shove a bunch of tobacco in the top of this cigarette right here and try to get that seal a little bit tighter. That tobacco just keeps falling out. I've done this like 3 or 4 times before this video. I did it when I got here. I did it before I left, where I made this cigarette. I have done this surgery multiple times. I am an expert at cigarette surgery now. I can do surgery on a cigarette, but not on a grape. Don't try to get me to do surgery on a grape. That grape will die, and the wind has taken all of my tobacco. It is windy today. That is probably another issue. But surgery on a cigarette, it's going okay. I got my tweezers right here. This is the only instrument I need. I need. Let's go and try to fix this real quick. There we go. I'm doing surgery on a cigarette right now. Surgery on a cigarette. All right. Close that up. Let's see if this works any better. Man, and this one still wants to fall out. Man, I cannot believe this. Absolutely nothing. This is just frustrating me right now. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. Yeah, I think it might just be time to go ahead and give up on trying to have any of this cigarette right here. And I think it might just be time for me to go ahead and get my second cigarette all lit up, in all honesty. I'm disappointed, I ain't gonna lie. I really am quite disappointed. I was hoping to be able to smoke a cigarette that was smoking a cigarette that was smoking a cigarette in today's video. And I do suppose, to some extent, I did. But I did not get any visible smoke off of this cigarette right here. So I am indeed quite disappointed. It is what it is, though. It is what it is. Let's go and get this cigarette right here all lit up and see if it works any better, though. And there we go. Now I'm getting a little bit of smoke. I think if I had to guess, it was probably just a combination factor with there not being a lot of tobacco in the third cigarette, with the draw just being so long, and with, in all honesty, my lack of cigarette surgery skills. I am by no means an expert in cigarette surgery. I think I may or may not have just said that I was an expert in cigarette surgery. I can't remember if I said that. If I did, I do apologize. I was not completely honest at that point in time, because I am by no means an expert in cigarette surgery. And yeah, no, I think half of this is probably because I didn't make this very well, in all honesty. I spent like a solid 30 minutes working on this, and I guess it wasn't good enough. But the good thing is that now it is actually smoking. Now it is actually smoking. And I am kind of thinking the main issue with that third cigarette probably was the fact that there was so little tobacco inside of it. And I thought I had to put so little tobacco inside of it to make it even thinner than this one, because this is a super slim cigarette right here. Super slim, if I do say so myself. Quite literally, both figuratively, both physically, and both name-wise, it's a super slim cigarette kind of thing. So to make it any thinner than that, I had to put, like, not a lot of tobacco inside at all. But I think I took the wrong approach to it, in all honesty. I think I took the wrong approach to it. I think what I needed to put inside was thinner cut tobacco, smaller cut tobacco, more like tobacco dust than just a little bit of tobacco kind of thing, because then I get a lot of air in it. The draw isn't very good off the cigarette in general. I think I might have gone about this the wrong way. Well, either way though, I am glad that it's smoking now. I don't know if I'm going to try this experience again, in all honesty. This experience has been a little bit frustrating. It's just a little bit frustrating kind of thing, I will admit. Maybe if I feel like dedicating more time to trying this experience again, maybe I'll try it again. But it really is a shame to say that I failed at trying to smoke a cigarette that was smoking a cigarette that was smoking a cigarette in today's video. I failed. It is what it is. It is what it is. I might have to try this again in the future. I don't really even know, even if I do try it in the future, if it's actually going to work or not. I think really the only way I could get this to work is if I use like really thick cigarettes, and then I just had it going like, okay, to like a less thick cigarette, and then to like an even less thick cigarette. And that less thick cigarette is just normal sized cigarette kind of thing. Because trying to just make it super, super, super thin just doesn't work very well draw-wise, and it just doesn't work very well tobacco-wise either kind of thing. The whole cigarette is pretty much all paper all the way at the very end. So I am definitely just kind of thinking that I think there might be a better way to go about this. I think there might be a better way to go about trying to smoke a cigarette that's smoking a cigarette that's smoking a cigarette, and I did not do that better way in today's video, that is for sure. But it certainly is what it is. What I do need, though, is a sip of water. Wow, my throat, puffing on that paper, just doing dry puffs, for like literally just doing dry puffs where I'm not getting any smoke at all, has just ripped my throat up. I need some water, y'all. I'm gonna go and take a sip of water. Man, oh man, there we go. Oof, much better, y'all, much better. Well, I will admit, now that I am actually smoking a little bit of a stogie, I'm feeling much better, you know what I'm saying? I'm feeling much better, definitely feeling less frustrated. That is what cigarettes do, you know what I'm saying? They make you feel a little bit less frustrated, you know what I'm saying? So I'm definitely glad that at least the cigarette that's smoking the cigarette is working. And I do think my cigarette right here, the LD menthol cigarette is probably getting hella buzzed, I ain't gonna lie, and I hope that this cigarette right here got at least a little bit buzzed from the cigarette that was above it. Cigarette cannibalism, you know what I'm saying? Cigarette cannibalism, it certainly is what it is. I don't support it, nor do I condone cigarette cannibalism, but that is what's going on in today's video. I guess another way of describing it would be cigarette centipede. It's not human centipede, it's cigarette centipede. I've never seen that movie, nor do I ever intend to. And I'm not even going to try to ash this. If I try to ash this, I'm afraid that the whole cigarette is just going to fall out. So I'm just going to let it be. I'm just going to let it be. I'm not going to try to... I might try to ash it with my lighter. There we go. I ashed it with my lighter. Scrape that onto the ground. But, you know, I wasn't going to try to ash it by actually, like, tapping the cigarette or anything like that kind of thing. No way. No way. I already know this is too fragile to tap. I ain't doing that. I ain't doing that. No way in hell. I am looking forward to seeing this get this all lit up, though. I am very much looking forward to that. It's such a cool look. Oof. Man, oh man. And I will admit, my Capri Magenta Super Slim cigarette that I used in today's video, I've had that pack for a couple months now. It's really dry. It's really dry, I ain't gonna lie. It's just kicking my throat, I ain't gonna lie. I am really looking forward to having the LD as my dessert to finish off this experience, that is for sure. Because I definitely be needing something that is not as dry as one of these Capri Magenta 120s. And there we go. Now it's really starting to work. No complaints on my behalf, you know what I'm saying? No complaints on my behalf at all. But, you know, I think I kind of just pushed my luck a little bit too far. I think I just kind of flew to the sun a little bit too close. I just got a little bit too close to the sun in today's video, and it didn't pan out in my favor. It did not pan out in my favor. I just got a little bit too close to the sun. I tried to do something that obviously I think is just predetermined for people not to be able to do. Smoking a cigarette, that's smoking a cigarette, that's smoking a cigarette. That just seems like something that you shouldn't be able to do. And, well, I wasn't able to do it in today's video. But I do think it's possible. I do think it's possible. That is so cool. The cigarette that I shoved inside this cigarette right here now has gotten my LD all lit up. That is so cool. I love that. I ain't gonna lie. I absolutely love that. But man, let me tell y'all what. I'm starting to feel a little bit buzzed. As I said earlier in the video, I haven't had a cigarette in over an hour. And smoking 2 cigarettes quite literally back to back is now starting to kick my ass a little bit. That is for sure. I could have just gone for 1 cigarette, but nope. I'm having 2 cigarettes today, you know what I'm saying? I'm having 2 cigarettes today, if not 3. Technically, I'm having 3 cigarettes, but I didn't really get much off of the 3rd cigarette, I will admit. But man, I'm feeling really buzzed right now, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. Certainly no complaints on my behalf. This is a good experience right now, but overall, this has not been the best experience in the world. As I said, I think I flew a little bit too close to the sun. Smoking a cigarette, that's smoking a cigarette, that's smoking a cigarette. I definitely do think it's possible, but sadly, it was not very possible today. It is what it is. It is what it is. This was a fun experience to try, though. I certainly have no regrets about at least attempting this experience, that is for sure. Because, I mean, like, hey, it's been a good learning experience. And I mean, like, hey, what's life without learning experiences, right? And today certainly has been a good experience, that is for sure. It's been a good experience. It's been a good learning experience. But as an experience I'd want to have again, no, I don't think it's been a very good experience kind of thing. I wouldn't want to have this experience again unless I can actually figure out a way to make a cigarette, smoke a cigarette, and then have that cigarette smoking a cigarette. And I do think it's possible. It's just going to take some workarounds. It's just going to take some workarounds. It's just going to take some work to make it possible. And I think I'm going to have to put in a little bit more work than I put into making this cigarette right here. I'm going to have to figure it out, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to have to figure it out. But man, this is getting me buzzed. I think the way to make this work is to roll a cigarette that's like extra thick kind of thing. I think I'm gonna have to roll like a cigarette with probably 3 filters as the base, and then probably have a normal cigarette stuck into that if I had to guess, and then probably stuck into that I'll have a super slim cigarette. I think that's probably the best way to make it work, because the super slim cigarette fits perfectly inside this cigarette right here, but then making a cigarette any more slim than a super slim cigarette really is just not possible, I will admit. It's just, I don't know if it really physically works, in all honesty. I've never seen a cigarette that is even thinner than a super slim cigarette. So I don't think that's really very possible. There's got to be a reason why they don't make cigarettes thinner than a super slim cigarette, if I had to guess. So I'm thinking the way to make a cigarette that's smoking a cigarette that's smoking a cigarette is probably to, do like a tri-filter cigarette, make it really dummy thick kind of thing, and then after that, stick a normal cigarette in it, and then stick a super slim cigarette in that cigarette. I think that's probably the way to do it, in all honesty. I think that is probably the way to do it. And that is that is an option I did not consider before this video. But as said, this has been a good learning experience. And what is life without good learning experiences? That is for sure. But man, I'm feeling buzzed, y'all. Certainly no complaints on my behalf. Whew. Man, oh man. I'm gonna take another sip of water. Give myself a moment, in all honesty, because I'm feeling pretty good right now. I don't really have anything else to say, in all honesty, so I do think without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and finish off this cigarette, go ahead and give you guys, I guess, my final thoughts on this experience, and then after that, I'm going to go and end the video right there. Yeah. Blech. Thick paper taste. No thank you. I'm all done. Stub that out. Throw this cigarette butt away after this video. But what are my final thoughts on this experience? Well, it didn't work. Sadly. Trying to smoke a cigarette that's smoking a cigarette that's smoking a cigarette was a failure in today's video, but it certainly is what it is. It certainly is what it is. I am a little bit disappointed, but this has been a good learning experience. This has certainly been a good learning experience. So I can't hate on it too much, that is for sure. I certainly can't hate on it too much, that is for sure. But I do indeed certainly hope you guys have enjoyed watching this video nonetheless. If you guys have enjoyed watching this video, of course, please make sure to like and subscribe for more content. I have my Instagram, my book, my merch, my P.O. box, and my second channel all in the description down below. Go check it all out. But thank you very much for watching, y'all. To the next one, stay safe and peace and have a great one. Yes, sir, you know what I'm saying?